Welcome to 8x8 Unplugged, where we connect you to the rock and roll universe with our award-winning 8x8 meetings platform. I'm your host, John DeLozier. I'm joined by renowned photographer, drummer, and award-winning author Rob Shannahan, who will take your questions and lay down the rhythms for this rock and roll journey. Let's go. Hi everyone, and welcome to 8x8 Unplugged, where we bring rock and roll right to your desktop via our award-winning platform here at 8x8. It's reliable, it's secure, and it's now everywhere. And by the way, as always, I'm joined by author, drummer, and photographer of the rock stars, my man, Rob Shannahan.
John, always great to talk rock and roll with you, man. My brother from another mother, and your platform, 8x8 Meetings, is exactly what the world needs right now, bringing everyone together. I couldn't be more excited to kick off this show, 8x8 Unplugged, with my good pal, PhilX.
PhilX, welcome, man. Thank you so much. Yes, the X-Man is here. I love it. I love it.
Good to be here.
You know, we started working together back in January 2012.
It was for Yamaha.
Yes, you walked into my studio with like 3 guitar cases. You came to my studio in Venice.
Yeah.
And we met for the first time, and immediately I knew you were a brother from another mother, like my pal John here. And we started talking Van Halen and Deep Purple, and oh my God, it was so great. And
I remember that. And I remember walking outside going, "Is this your car?"
The Nomad.
I go, "You got a 50-something station wagon," and he's like, "Well, I can put the drums in the back." I'm like, "I love this guy."
I can't stop looking at your guitars. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah, right. See, that's why I just moved over. Hey, is that a white Explorer?
oh, look at that.
Yes, it is.
Hey, what's that? What? What?
I love it. Hey, Phil, first question for you. What are you doing these days during this freaking COVID thing? Are you staying busy? Are you laying down some music? Like, what's going on at home?
I am. I'm working on, actually, you know, it's funny. I went through you go through phases. Well, my first phase was put the kids to sleep and just practice guitar, which is funny because, you know, when you land a mega gig, you think you can rest on your laurels. But I've always I grew up playing, challenging myself, and always finding new ways to express my heart. So, but where it paid off is like I put this video up of me jamming to like the Deep Purple master track of Highway Star. When I listen to the keyboard solo that I do instead of the keyboard solo, I'm like, dude, you were practicing like a mofo. It was the most articulate and clean. I call it quarantine clean. I'm also working on a bunch of stuff. I actually just launched an app. It's the PhilX app.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, tell us about it.
So that's kind of cool. That's a new thing, and I try to I'm a content guy, but I'm trying to do exclusive content just for the app, and especially for subscribers. In fact, today I just launched a 20% off all PhilX merch on the app.
Excellent.
So there's all kinds of stuff like that. I'm also working on 100 PhilX Instalicks PDF booklet.
Wow.
So it's like notated and tablature and a link to a video of me playing it slow and fast. And because and it's funny, I have a friend who's like a YouTube master / genius / guru. His name is Rick Beato. Everybody knows Rick because he puts up some of the best content that's on YouTube. And he's like, you know, you got really great licks. You should do a PhilX lick book. And I'm like, how do I do that?
That's so great, especially for guitar hacks like me, right? So I can actually get on there and get the lick book out and wait, this is how Phil did it. This is how I'm going to do it.
Lick.
I like it.
Growing up, like for us to learn music, playing the record over and over and over, just shredding away. Obviously, you spent hours and hours and hours doing that. Talk about how beneficial it is to kids now with YouTube and apps and all the electronic devices that we can learn instruments from.
Right. And what we did, which it was before YouTube and even before tablature, and just, it's amazing ear training because I was in cover bands, you know. I started playing in clubs when I was 17 or 18 because you could in Canada for some crazy reason. And so you did 3 45-minute sets a night, and so you needed a lot of material.
Oh yeah.
To change it up, because a Friday night and Saturday night in a small town, the same people are showing up. So if you do, you got to change it up. So, but everything we learned was by ear. And so my ear is pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. Because when I started doing sessions here in '99, in LA, I don't read. So I was going in and people would play something and I just started like, how do you pick up so fast? And I'm like, dude, I learned Eruption from vinyl when I was 13. This is nothing.
Alta Nova, Triumph, you came to this country from Canada. You mentioned that earlier. You grew up in Ontario, right?
I'm an export, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then I'm really curious about this. You have an incredible reputation as an amazing session guitar player. A lot of people want you to play with them. They want to hear you on their records, those kinds of things. I guess the question is can you keep up with their type of music, whether it's Tommy Lee and Methods of Mayhem or Kelly Clarkson or Alice Cooper, whoever it is? Do you do all that from ear as well when they ask you to come in?
I think your job in that session world is basically becoming a chameleon. You know, so you have to, wear different hats and definitely approach different styles and make it sound genuine. Being in a cover band when I was a kid, we would go from Bryan Adams to Yngwie Malmsteen. And then later on, when we had a girl singer, because they always wanted a girl singer when we went to Montreal, we learned I Will Survive. And we learned, Marvin Gaye stuff. So
right.
Being able to do that when I was younger, translating that into the session world became pretty seamless. But the thing is I always approach sessions as a songwriter. I know my job is not only to come up with cool guitar parts, but it's also to support the vocal, which the vocal is always king. Whether it's Alice Cooper or Kelly Clarkson, the vocal is king. So it's supporting that and also making the chorus peak. Like, okay, here we are playing the verse, and this is the pre-chorus, and this is our journey to the chorus. And then when the chorus kicks in, you want it to slam. So, and it's usually, guitar overdubs that are doing that. So as a songwriter, I would approach it as, what would I do if this was my song? What can I do to help that chorus? I think one thing is being able to do your job is as a pro and as no ego and just walk in and deliver. I think delivering is more important than anything because, when that's how your name starts going around. Because it was Rob Zombie who heard me playing on Tommy Lee's record, Methods of Mayhem in '99. And then Rob was like, hey, would you play on my next record? And then I'm like, of course. And then 2 weeks later, Rob was like, hey, did Alice call you? And I'm like, Alice who? He goes, Alice Cooper, I gave him your number last week. I'm like, what? So, it's like when you're a good chef.
When you go in for a session, obviously the songwriter has an idea of what they want. So you go in, first couple takes, you give them what they want. And then do you ever go back and say, hey, I think we got it in the can, but let's try this. Listen to this. Do you put your little PhilX spin on everything?
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Because I feel like everybody, at first, when I do a first session with any producer, you go, okay, just want big guitars in the chorus and then some kind of chorusy arpeggiated thing to help it, move along. And then I'll see you in like 5 hours. And then you do that. But then, if you're doing a whole record, that arpeggio thing starts sounding like a car commercial at some point, right? And I'm like, I don't want this to be a car commercial. Let's come up with something. Hey, can I try something else? And everybody's like, what do you mean? I'm like, let me try a couple of things. And then I play something and then they go, wow, that's amazing. And then when the producer comes in and hears it and he likes it, then the next go in for the next project, they'll walk in and then they go, "Oh, it's you. Oh, just do your thing. See you later."
That's where the beauty happens, in my opinion, when you just let you do what you do. That's it.
And then, like, we did a lot of that on the first Daughtry record because it was more than 10 songs and everything came in like a demo or an acoustic and a voice. And we really had to create a vibe for that whole record because they didn't even have a band yet. But after that record came out and it had such a sound, then producers were like, "Hey, let's get that guy that did the Daughtry record. Hey, who did the Daughtry record? PhilX. Is that even a name?" Right? So that became a calling card.
Was there a session that stuck out for you? I know you do, it's business for you, I understand that, but you're an artist at your core. Is there one that sticks out, or is it all kind of, you get in, you do your thing and get out?
Chris Cornell. Because I was a huge fan. So getting to record with him was like, I mean, it becomes a surreal situation, but you're also like doing the job. So, but in that particular situation, it was like, "Hey, we're doing a track, and are you available on Friday?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And what is it? And then it's Chris Cornell. I'm like, "What?" You like, I automatically like freak out. And then you show up at the session, and he's not there, and it's just you and a drummer. So you and the drummer are doing multi takes of this one song, and I believe it was he did a whole record with Timbaland, but the record company was like, "Can we do a rock version of the single?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And they got Howard Benson to produce that. So Howard called me. So I did all the guitars. And then again, the day that I did guitars, Chris wasn't there. But then they call and go, "Hey, are you available tomorrow night?" I'm like, what is it? He goes, "Well, you got to do that guitar solo on the Cornell track, and Chris wants to be here for that." I'm like, I'm like my calendar with the eraser already.
Oh yeah.
So I go in and he's on the couch, and now he's already sung the track. So I'm playing guitar and his voice is coming through the speakers. So that alone is like, holy shit, this isn't. And then he's on the couch and you're like, what the fuck? And then, it's kind of like an incredible feeling. And then I'm like, how do you break the ice with Chris Cornell? Just how do you do it? So I feel like, okay, this just do your thing. Just be PhilX. So, and then when I'm in the studio and if I'm going for a solo, I've heard it from a lot of people, engineers, producers. It's like I'm on stage. Like I'm not sitting, I'm standing, and I'm going for it. And so that's what's happening. I try a different tuning for the solo, plug in new amp, and I start doing this thing. But I'm getting into it, like I'm on stage. So then I end it, and Chris goes, "Well, that was really good, but I think you need a little more gain." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it looked good, didn't it?" And he laughed, and I'm like, "I broke the ice."
I know a lot of people are waiting for this part of the show, Rob.
Yeah.
We've got lots of questions around this. So early on, you do this touring thing with Out of Nova, you were Triumph, you do the sessions, all the stuff. You've built an amazing career, and you're rolling, and then you get the call. You get the call to come play with Bon Jovi. How did that happen? Like the first time, and then we'll talk about the second time. But when you got in there in the first, was it just like a "We Need You"?
Every time is a good story. But the first time it was, I didn't even really know John Shanks, but he had a studio at Henson at the time, and I was working at Henson, and I was working on a session with Kenny Aronoff and Chris Chaney on bass, and we were doing this project, and we were having lunch, and John knew everybody but me. So Shanks walks in, and he goes, "Hey Kenny, hey Chris, hey guitar guy." But then later on in the week, because we were there for a few weeks, later on in the week, he came into Studio D where we were, and he walked up to me and he goes, you are funny." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, I couldn't stop watching your YouTube videos last night. But not only are you funny and you have this cool vibe, but it sounds like you can play and sing anything. So obviously he's a guitar collector, so he was talking about the old Fred and Americana demos. So which pretty much a PhilX show. But he was just floored. So 2 weeks later, his Bon Jovi relationship popped up because he produced the last bunch of records for them, I think, since Have a Nice Day. And he called me, he got my number, and he called me and he said, "Hey Phil, it's John Shanks. I think I have a gig for you." I'm like, "Oh, cool, what is it?" He goes, "Well, I can't really tell you over the phone, but if you could come by my studio tomorrow, I'll tell you about it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go by the studio, I walk in, and he goes, "Here's a contract, here's a statement of confidentiality. You might be filling in for Richie Sambora and Bon Jovi."
Nice.
No audition, no nothing. That's John Bon Jovi and John Shanks, their relationship. John Bon Jovi asked Shanks, "I might need somebody. Who's the guy?" And Shanks, without a thought, just because he saw the videos, said, "You got to get this guy." And no nothing. It was on his word.
How about that? Rob and I, we talk about this all the time. One of my favorite movies, you might laugh at this one, is the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. I love it. I love it. I love that movie.
Even though it's not that good of a movie, but it's fun to watch.
It totally is. Where he goes in the studio and they audition him. Yeah. And okay, we've heard enough. Thank you. That's how I always wonder, is that how it's going to be for you guys? But that's amazing. So Shanks.
And some guys totally clean up, and I understand that aspect of it. For me, it was kind of like, it was a few months, John. There was a point where, hey, you have to learn a 2.5-hour show. And we might not be able to rehearse, think of showing up, doing kind of a lengthy sound check, and then performing in front of 20,000 people that night. And I'm like, and I'll tell you something that I don't say a lot, because I've been asked this question a lot, but it's me. I had just left my first wife and we were going through a divorce, and I got the house, I don't know how, and the dogs. So it's me. They've sent me DVDs, Bon Jovi DVDs of shows, not unreleased material. So, Tokyo Dome from last year, this, that. Something just happened to my microphone. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're good. We got you.
So I'm in the living room, and I got the big screen with the DVD playing. I got a mic stand with the lyrics. I got my pocket Marshall, and I'm playing to a Bon Jovi show. Because not only did I want to learn the material, so I would learn the record, and then I would learn the live stuff, because there's always different arrangements, more in different keys. I want to watch John do his cue thing, so I'm there for that, and the shots and all that stuff. So I'm doing the show and in front of my dogs, and then at one point I'm sitting there going, "Do I even want to do this? I don't know if I even want to do this," because I'm kind of frustrated at this point, because it's one of those things. Like, it was like, get ready, you might get the call, you might not get the call, right?
Yeah.
You need to call you.
Wow.
So do I want to do all this work and not get the call? So I'm thinking about it. I don't want to do this. I throw the guitar down, the dogs run away, I sit on the couch, and I turn on HBO. And what's on TV? The Bon Jovi documentary.
Oh, perfect.
So there's the sign. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing it, And then, so I got prepared. I got pretty close. I thought, you know what? Are they going to really call me and say, "We're flying you to somewhere the next day"? And I'm like, yeah, you should really get it tight. So, but I remember it was April 14th, 2011, when I got a New York unknown phone number. So I didn't answer it. And then I checked the message, and it's, "Hey Phil, it's John Bon Jovi calling. I'm calling. So call me back." And that was it. So I come home, and I'm like, "Hey man," he goes, "Hey, what's happening? And what's going on?" So I think we're in a predicament. I think I want to fly you to New York at the end of the month and have you rehearse with the band for a couple of days and put you on hold for May. And I'm like, okay. And we talk a little bit, shoot the shit and stuff. But he basically was like, if you come out and you can do a 2.5 hour show, then you'll be fine. I'm thinking to myself, man, I saw Bruno Mars. He plays for like an hour and a quarter. What's this 2.5 hour stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's what he does, and longer in Europe. But anyways, what happened was the day I flew to New York to rehearse with the guys, Richie went into rehab. So May on hold turned into You're Doing May. And our first show is in 3 days at the Jazz Fest in New Orleans in front of 50,000 people. So we rehearsed, and it's not like I've been in rehearsals where you rehearse for like 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day and you grind it out. This band doesn't do that. They rehearse for like a few hours and okay, see you tomorrow. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, see you tomorrow. But it was funny because I don't know if anybody else in the band knew what I was doing. Because I get into a van and Tico's like, hey, thanks for doing this. So we get to rehearsal, and I'm nailing everything. Everybody's like, "There's no way this guy."
They're like, we lucked out,
right? So, and even Tico was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" You know, it was like one of those things. So I got on the jet with the band and flew to New Orleans, and then that was it, man.
Well, you've come a long way since that TV in the living room with your dogs. And I know you're now happily married, right?
Yes.
I know your lovely wife. You've talked about her all the time. We're fortunate, Mr. Shannahan, to be in that same genre. And then, Phil, do you have kids?
I do. I have my daughter's 4, my son is 6, and I have a 22-year-old bonus son.
Whoa.
First marriage.
I
So
love that.
he was 14, so he kind of introduced me to the whole parenting thing. He was such a cool kid at 14 that I thought, amazing kid.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have kids with her.
Yeah. I love it. Exactly. Why not?
I've learned so much from her, and I've kind of like steered the daddy ship. Everybody kind of, you learn as you go. So, but my kids, I feel like I'm so blessed. I feel like people are like, what's being a dad like? Because I have a lot of musician friends that haven't really made it down that avenue. And I thought, being a musician, and say it was 2018, I played in a mega band. I played 2 sold-out nights at Madison Square Garden last week. Being a dad is even better than that.
Amen.
It's the best thing ever.
Rob, we're coming to the end, and we're going to do our first Snapshots with Shannahan. Where's your little? I want to see your little. Where is it?
Oh, this?
But you want to rapid fire a few questions at Phil?
So, Phil, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. There's no wrong answer. 5 quick questions in 30 seconds. The first thing that comes off the top of your head.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Favorite guitar player of all time?
Eddie Van Halen.
If you could have lunch with any person, living or dead, who would it be?
Eddie Van Halen.
You're stuck on an island with your turntable and 1 record. Which is it?
Toss. Van Halen 1, Fair Warning.
Damn, he's a Van Halen nut. Weird.
He is.
That's why we're such good bros.
Hey, my straight Van Halen guitars are in the garage.
Favorite color?
Blue, because of the sky.
First guitar. I know we all have our first love. Tell me.
Okay, so I don't remember the name of it, but it's usually a copy, right? Your first guitar is usually a copy. Mine was a copy of a Vox Teardrop.
Oh.
With really shitty pickups, just from memory. And it was also a hollow body. And my bolt-on neck, and I was 5. I could barely hold it. And we were a modest family living in downtown Toronto. And in a 2-bedroom apartment, 4 kids and my parents. And my dad still, in that modest setting, got me an electric guitar for Christmas.
Beautiful.
So that's pretty amazing. But he played bouzouki, and I think he just wanted a rhythm guitar player. But I do remember my dad's like, I'm going to hang this on the wall because we have a limited amount of space and no guitar stand. So I'm going to hang it on the wall. Do you want to play it? Let me know. I'll bring it down and you play it. And I'm like, okay. But he was at work one day and I was at home from school for some reason. And I got this chair. This is my really quick answer. I got the chair and I stood on the chair and I tried to bring it down and it was too heavy for me at my size to hold over my head. So it kind of dropped and fell and split. But my dad was a handy guy. So some clamps and some glue later and it was like new. But that's one of the things I remember. Yeah.
You know, some of the things we've talked about in the last hour, these blessings of music and culture and the kids. PhilX, I really, really, really like and love watching you play guitar. I like you a lot better than that, though. You're a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on here.
Yeah,
seriously.
Thanks.
You know? Jeez. It's going to make it all the more fun, Rob, next time we go see him, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't wait to see him again. So Phil, I'm going to bring up a video that you sent to me years ago. It was a video of you, Bon Jovi show, out on the runway, just going nuts, guitar solo. And you mentioned something about John finally just let me have at it. And I'm looking at the video and I'm watching you play and I'm like, this is unadulterated rock and roll, pure joy right here. You look like you were in it was at that moment, the PhilX show. Forget about Bon Jovi. It was your show, and it was amazing. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm glad we're friends. And I really want to thank you for doing the show today.
Dude, thank you for that. I think that's why JBJ likes having me around.
Thanks for bringing all your music and your beautiful heart and your warm soul to the world. And now with 8x8, you're bringing it to everyone.
That's right. 8x8. That's right. 8x8, PhilX. We're gonna get that app information out to the world.
Yeah.
And make sure they can download your stuff. And I can't wait to get out to LA and see you, man.